Welcome to How to Make a Kaboom in Rough Animator. New project, we'll call this Kaboom, and frame rate at 24 frames per second is okay. We're going to select the paintbrush color, black for now, and the paintbrush, and first we need to draw the Kaboom thing, which will be a stick of dynamite. So here is the stick of dynamite. There it is. Let's paint it red. Let's give it some depth. And a little shadow. Amazing. There's your Kaboom stick. Now it needs a background. We'll make it a dark background so the explosion does stand out. To do this, we'll select the background layer. We're going to go for a darkish blue. Paint bucket. Select the background, and there you have your background and your Kaboom stick. Let's move this Kaboom stick. Let's select the layer it's on. Let's name it. And to move it, use the lasso tool, select it, and then you can move it. Let's put it in the middle, looks kind of cool. And go back to the background layer. Let's do a little line just to feel like it's on the ground. Like, not like that, probably more like, oh, it's too thick. Something like this. Amazing. Now for the Kaboom to go Kaboom, the wick needs to be lit. So what we'll do, the wick will probably burn over 20 frames. So to duplicate the dynamite 20 frames, we shall add drawing, duplicate after, and we'll do this about 20 times. Now that that's done, we shall add the burning wick. So we'll get a yellow paintbrush. Okay, that first. Paintbrush is selected. 5 or 6 is fine for the size. Go to the first frame and do some random squigglies. It looks like so. Now we need to delete the wick that's been burnt. So we shall get the eraser and it looks like so. Now it needs to Kaboom. So for the Kaboom, the first we're going to do over a few layers, probably about 3 or 4. So one will be the spark, one will be the smoke, and the other one will be the flash. That's 3, and maybe 4 when we start doing the highlights on like the smoke at the end. So first we'll make a new layer, empty layer. When you make a new layer, it will begin with 1 frame. You can plus frames, it's fine, but it's a bit messy. The other way is you can extend the frame to be sync lasers on, that's why that moved. Let's go to maintain overall duration, and when you slide your finger on this drawing duration, it will extend the length of that one drawing, so you don't have to draw a drawing 100 times. But for this one we had to, because we had the sparking animation on the dynamite. So the flash will probably start here, so you can go to the last frame that you can select on the, we'll call this the flame layer, and in add drawing you can duplicate at current frame. So you got 1 frame there. We've duplicated a frame here, and now we're going to start doing the spark. So it's going to be bright yellow, so back to yellow, okay, and let's make it a bit thicker. Then add a frame, put the onion skinning on so you can see where the sparks come from. Next one's going to be a bit bigger. And this one, quite big. That's still a better version. Something like so. Paint bucket and fill it in. And then the next one is, oops, not paint bucket. Not paint bucket. The next one, it just fades away. To nothing. So we'll go back and just fill those holes with the paint bucket. Make sure they're complete so the fill doesn't spill. And so far it looks like, boom, that's good enough. It looks a little bit even. Let's add like another one here. So we get, that's a bit better. It's not so symmetrical. Now we're going to do a white flash that happens just about 2 frames after. So you get the first initial one, and then by about here it's going to be all white, and that white in the background will fade to the actual background color. So we'll go from like white to the dark blue. So we shall just copy, so make sure this layer is selected, and go over to modify layers and duplicate layer timings to blank drawings. So that will just copy that with an empty frames as such. So there's no drawings on there. Get rid of this. Now we want the flash to probably start on this frame, and we want it behind the yellow flash. So we're going to, we'll call this flash and just drop that so it's underneath. And we shall go to the color picker, go for a very almost white color, paint bucket, fill in the background, next frame. How does that feel? Great. Now we're going to add the smoke. And to do that, we'll just do the same as before, copy the existing layer with the blank frames. So modify layers, this fella, and we're good to go. We'll make the smoke start on this frame. We'll start small, get big really quick, and then dissipate really slow. So we shall get a grey colour, like such. Paintbrush, 15's fine. Just fill that in with the paint bucket. Next frame. Oops. Paint bucket that. So now I'm going to go through and make this cloud dissipate over about 20-30 frames. So it's going to go into hyperspeed time now. And there you have your smoke effects. You might have noticed one thing when you're filling in your clouds, if you're doing such a thing. So for example, if I was to draw a cloud here and on paint bucket, fill expand, if that was on 0 and you fill that in, you're going to get a line. If you don't want that line to happen, you want it to be a solid color, just make sure fill expand is at least 1 or 2 depending on how your setup is. I think 1 or 2 generally does the job. So if I undo that, 1, zoom in, that line's gone. So that's just a little note to take notice of. So we can get rid of that, select, delete, and yes, here's the smoke. We're going to make it a little bit more interesting and give it some highlights and shadow. So to do that, we're going to duplicate the layer again. We're going to duplicate the smoke layer. Same blank drawing duplication, Now for the highlight. So let's go brush, let's go for a darker grey, and brush 20, oh, it's fine. And the light will be coming from up here, so the shadow will be underneath. Like so. Here's a pass of the shadows. Now we're going to add the highlights. To do so, paintbrush, a lighter colour, and it's just little, not as big a lines, there'll be just smaller lines to highlight where the light catches. So little things like this. And there you have your smoke, your flash, your kaboom, and your kaboom stick. You can add one little thing just to help with the timing of it all. When the wick gets down to the bottom, it just explodes. It'd be nice to hold that timing in anticipation for the explosion. To do that, we're going to use this option up here, independent layers. It might be to sync, whatever it's set to. Have it set to sync layers. Go to, let's duplicate this last frame of the dynamite, like so. So every frame from here after will sync out. So I can't pull that down any further, but you'll see if I go like so. And the explosion won't happen till after this, because this is the frames of where the flame and the smoke happens. Select the frame and then boom. So now we've extended that last frame of the dynamite. Oh, we have to get rid of that one. It's just, this is the flame, so that's that thing here. So we just want to extend the frame beforehand. Make sure it's not on sync layers. Make it go to maintain overall duration. And that will keep the length of all those frames, and just punch that into that filler. So now there's the anticipation, and there's your kaboom. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or something didn't make sense, feel free to add a comment below. I will be making more tutorials. If you have any ideas for tutorials, please add them as well, and I'll try my best to get to them. Take care. Goodbye.